I actually really want to know your take on this. Do you think if written in a certain way, there's a chance that Naruto and Sasuke are secretly gay lovers for each other?
Yeah. Yeah,
for
sure.
Mm.
I mean, Naruto is just gotta get Sasuke.
Man, on Sasuke's dick all the time. Yo, what's good, guys? It's your boy Archeotics here, back again. You can call me Archie, but I got a very special guest right here. First time since the rebrand of Casual Takes. We got My Name is Doofy right here. How's it going, Doofy?
Oh man, this is it. It's a pleasure to be here. This is like my first public appearance in like a year, probably. I've gone MIA for so long, but you know, I had to make the special return for Casual Takes.
Man, have to, bro. Hey, man, I'm so glad we finally get to see you again. It's been so long. Anyways,
it's been a hot minute.
I just want to say this though, for sure. With Doofy, I respect this man a lot because he does not care about your opinions. All he cares about is his opinions, and he stands by it. Never wavers. And I get it, man. Trust me. When I say something like, man, the first 4 episodes of JJK was boring, people come at my throat. I still don't waver. I'm like, nah. Yeah, you're not getting me, bro. You're not getting me.
Is that really a hot take?
Dude, people think I'm shitting on it by saying, oh my gosh, that arc was so like boring. And then they're like, nah, you just don't get it. You don't get it. I'm like, am I at that point yet where I'm going to understand why that was so significant? No, then it's boring as hell to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess. Wait, have you, sorry, I guess we're jumping into shit too quick and I'm already fucking like holding the convo hostage, but like, where are you with JJK? Like, are you caught up? Like, are you watching as it's going on right now? Like,
so I actually was, I was reading the manga after the first season came out, but then people kept hyping up Shibuya, and I'm like, I think Shibuya is like the arc where I want to see animated. So I just stopped reading. So I read the flashback arc, right?
Yeah,
of Gojo and Geto, but I didn't read any further than that because I'm like, I want to see Shibuya like animated for the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And by the way, I think the anime really butchered the flashback arc because of how fast it's just so fast. I was like,
only like 5 or 6 episodes?
4. 4 episodes.
Word? 4?
And Geto's part where you see his descent into into being like racist pretty much. Let's call it what it is. He turns into a racist. Like, let's be honest. Basically, it was I think I remember timing it 15 minutes they spent on that. 15 minutes. I'm like, bro, I'm glad they animated it, but it's like you couldn't have spent like 2 episodes on this. Like, I'm just like, bro, this is insane.
Archie didn't pay the internet bill.
Oh shoot. Okay, wait. It's back. Okay, go ahead.
We're back. I was just saying you didn't pay the internet bill.
Oh, you noticed the pause right there? You're like, what?
Oh no. Did I notice the pause where you just suddenly stopped talking in the middle of a monologue? Yeah, I think I noticed.
Oh man. But yeah, that's my only thing. I hope JJK slows down. That's all. Please slow down. Normally I tell anime to speed up. This is the first time in a while where I'm like, please slow down.
What do people think of it generally? Like, what are I feel pretty out of touch with anime fans these days, but like, how are people receiving the adaptation of season 2? I thought it was pretty high.
They love it, but you know, it's that weird thing where, man, we're just gonna shit on shonen fans for a second. It's one of those things where a cool fight scene happens and they think the whole arc is peak because of a cool fight scene. You know what I mean? Whereas I'm like, dude, did you not notice that we got barely any character development of anyone? Like, I don't care about Riko, and she just got her head blown off, and I'm like, I feel no emotion. I didn't know her, bro. Like, what the? I don't care about this. You know what I mean? And but they're like, nah. But the cool, Gojo going into madness and the cool fucking purple scene. And I'm like, okay, it was cool. It was colorful, and like, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Where these are one of those moments where you're like, I think shonen fans are brain dead. Like, you know what I mean?
It's been so long since I read like the Gojo's past arc. I watched the first episode of the anime and it was fine, but obviously not much really happened in that first episode. But I need to get back into it. I've kind of like distanced myself from JJK quite a bit. Even like with a lot of the ongoing shit in Jump, I might catch up once every couple of months, but I kind of just do it because I'm like, most of these are surely like in their second half. Like I read Blue Box. I don't really love it, to be honest. I think it's actually a great manga for Jump, but it's just not the kind of manga I want to read. But it's like 100 chapters in. Like I kind of just want to stick around since I've already put in all this work. I want to see where it ends up. Akane Banashi, another one where it's like I think it's great for Jump. I just don't really care about it. But again, I'm like, I don't know, 60 chapters in maybe. Like I just kind of want to see it wrap up. What else? Okay. I think there's a few others. Actually, hold up. Second Monitor, Supremacy. I can pull up the annual list of that.
Yeah,
it's already up. Fucking what else? I mean, JJK. I do genuinely like JJK, but I don't know. I just kind of need to binge sections of it because a single chapter of it doesn't do anything for me.
Right. Of course.
Oh, and Sakamoto Days, same. Sakamoto Days is genuinely good. I do enjoy reading that, but again, I need to like read a chunk of it.
I heard so many good things about it.
You should definitely. It's like a really good, fun battle shonen. I think its biggest virtue is like it has very straightforward action scenes that are easy to digest but look amazing. It's really like I was gonna do like my top 100 anime manga video, which I'm still gonna do at some point. Probably not until next year, probably at this rate. But, it's gonna happen. I have like a little blurb for certain series that I want to discuss, and I made one for Sakamoto Days because it's like the complete inverse of like the trend that we see in battle shonen. Because like if we look at like battle shonen from like the 90s or whatever, like Yu Yu Hakusho, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward power system, like pretty straightforward action sequences, whatever. But I think my hypothesis is that like over time, shonen rose to fame for obvious reasons. Like it's really digestible action series,
of course,
lots of cliches that we all love. But I think once it kind of rose to like a fame in like the mid 2000s, late 2000s, especially with the big three being massive over here in the West. I think a lot of those fans got backlash for like being like brain dead, as we've already called them in this episode.
Yeah.
And it's partially justified for sure. But I think authors kind of saw that criticism and wanted to like escape the brain dead, claims. And so they really focused on like making their series so complex. And I think we see series like JJK, that's a great example of that, where like there's so much nuance and like different levels and layers to their power system that, I mean, fucking if you read any of the chapters from like earlier in the Colony arc, it's like there's fucking pages and pages explaining people's domain expansions and shit. And it's like so fucking complicated. I have no idea what's going on. I have to watch like Ronin's videos to understand what the fuck's happening at JJK. But it's like there's this increasing complexification of shonen series to avoid those charges of being a brain dead. But now it's like, this is too fucking much for me, dog. And I think Sakamoto Days is so brilliant because it just fucking turns that on its head. It's like, fuck being complex. Let's just do straightforward action that's digestible, easy to follow, and just done beautifully. And then the other thing it does, which I really like, is it stops like rejecting comedy in shonen. Because again, obviously there's a lot of like derailing comedy in shonen still, even in things like JJK and whatnot. It was really fucking bad in the 2000s. And I think it got a lot of like shit for it. And I think, again, as a result, they wanted to take themselves more seriously. And that's why, like, if you compare, again, Yu Yu Hakusho to JJK, JJK is more complex, less comedy moments. It takes itself more seriously. It's more mature in some sense, whatever that means. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sakamoto Days says, fuck it. Fuck that trend. We're leaning into the comedy. So it does comedy like, it just embraces it and it does it well. And same with the action. It's like, fuck just being complex. Let's throw hands and make it look good. Let's make dynamic art. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Okay. Anyways, Sakamoto Days is breaking the trend. Sakamoto Days is a fucking like trailblazer for shonen. I love it.
Man, I feel you on that.
How do we get here?
No, you're good. I honestly, that's kind of how I feel about Zom 100 right now, where I'm like, it is nothing like shonen that I've seen before, and it's literally just like, I'm gonna just embrace that. I'm gonna turn into a zombie one day. I'm gonna do whatever I can to like do what I want to do before I turn into a zombie. Instead of, you know how Zom 100 could have been just this cliche of like, I'm going to be the last human standing. I'm not going to allow these zombies to get to me. You know what I mean? I'm going to survive. It could have been just a basic survival shonen series. And I am so glad it went the other direction of, I'm going to enjoy my life while I'm still here. And that's something that I just haven't seen in shonen in such a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
for sure. Anyways, we kind of went into a tangent immediately, but let me get you guys more acquainted with my boy Doofy here. And I actually do want to I want to know, how did you get into anime? Seeing as you are from Canada, and I believe Canada does not get Toonami, I believe.
No,
So
I've never had it.
Yeah, so I'm curious, how did you get into anime or in manga in general?
Yeah, so we have a television program called YTV, Youth Television or something like that, and they used to run their own like anime block in the 2000s. It was called Bionics, and I guess that would have been where I was first exposed to it. Now, earlier on in Bionics' lifetime, like it had like Yugioh, Full Metal Alchemist, Naruto, Bleach, all that stuff. It had like a pretty robust, like I don't know, cast of shows going on, but like just over time, it lost a lot of popularity. It was kicked to a later slot. It lost more shows, had smaller, sections in the night. So it was ultimately kind of like reduced to just Naruto and Bleach, and that's around, I guess, 2008 or so. And that's when I like just first saw Naruto, I guess, on TV, and I'm like, this shit's kind of nice. I think it was during like that big final like chunk of filler in the original Naruto was coming out. That's kind of when I got into Naruto. And I saw that shit played on TV. Yeah, I saw that shit on TV. I'm like, yo, this shit kind of nice.
So you said it was nice during the filler is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, oh my gosh.
The filler actually works, I think, for a new fan because it's like it has to be self-contained in some sense. So it's like if I were to have jumped in the middle of Land of Waves, for instance, if that was just like a random episode on TV when they're fighting Zabuza, I'd have no fucking idea what's going on. But like if I turn the TV on and it's like a bunch of ninjas and they have to like go save like the ramen shop owner's daughter from like ninja chefs, I'm like, that's like that. There's a whole story there for me to easily get into, and I was just like super enthralled by like the characters, the choreography, like the music, like it was just like a whole package that I loved. So I guess that was kind of my like explicit entry point where I kind of knew that this was different than cartoons.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously everyone, sorry, I kind of like obviously skipped like fucking 13 years of my life, but
no, you're good.
I've seen like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh and shit when I was younger. Like, but that's just like cartoons to me. I usually give like this story because it's like this is my first experience with like anime, like qua anime, like knowing it's anime. Like I knew this wasn't, fucking
normal cartoons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was trying to think of a cartoon from the time. I don't know, like Wayside. I don't know if you guys even know what Wayside is.
You know what's crazy? I thought Dragon Ball Z was a cartoon back then. I truly believed it was a cartoon. I was like, yo, what? I can't explain it. It's different from SpongeBob somehow.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, like Canada had a lot of like anime inspired shows. Like Spider Riders, I think, is the biggest example because actually I don't even know if Spider Riders was the Canadian.
I think Spider Riders is an anime. I think
it is because it was made with fucking Japanese studio.
Dude, that took me back. I was like, man, I haven't heard the term. I haven't heard of Spider Riders in a decade.
But there was a lot of stuff like that, like Daigata Defenders. I can't think of it, like a bunch of examples now off the top of my head. But like Canada had a lot of like French, Japanese collaborations. Yeah, like anime-looking cartoons. Some of them were genuinely anime because they employed like Japanese studios to animate them. But yeah, Spider Riders, shout out.
Oof, man, it's been a while. Yeah. For sure. So basically Canada had like that they had something that was similar to Toonami, and it was it basically went through the whole like the 2000 anime syndrome of like people are just now discovering, oh wait, this is Japanese, this is interesting. And so everyone kind of went through that similar phase of like, wait, this is different. You know what I mean?
There was another like anime block too from the Disney Channel called Jetix. That one came on Sunday. That I think was where now, I always told myself this is where I saw Shaman King, but every time I look up stuff online, I can never see like a Jetix schedule with Shaman King, so I must be lying. But I remember the one show I remember the most from Jetix from my youngest years. This might even be before Naruto. It was called Oban Star Racers, and it was just like a show about this girl who, I don't know, ends up in like some lower social status. Her father kind of rejects her, but her father owns like this big like racing company or some shit like that. And she's trying to like impress him, or so. I don't like it. It's so vague, man. It's only 26 episodes. I'm so nostalgic. I remember her name was Molly in the English dub, I believe. But that's like my earliest memory, I guess, of another anime that's not just Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Digimon.
Oh, okay. I get that for sure. And man, let me get into this, all right? Because the fans want to know: do you actually dislike One Piece?
No, I like One Piece.
Okay, cool. All right.
It's good. It's I posted the tweet the other day. For as much like shit as I'll talk about it, it's still like in my like top 25% of series, right? Like it's still good.
Yeah. So, here's my thing, right? And I've said this about One Piece before. I think the anime is garbage. Personally,
that's fair. I think most people think that, to be honest.
Yeah. As I read the manga, so I picked up the manga around Ennis Lobby, somewhere around there, and I think it's so much better. Like reading it, like way better, as well as like One Piece doesn't they don't rely on action scenes that often, so it's like actually this works as a manga. Yeah. I'm like, all right, I could just read through it. To be honest, I'm still in Marineford right now because like I can't handle a lot of One Piece all at once. I'm just like I want to take my time with it.
Personally. What do you mean you're in Marineford? Like, are you in the actual war like right now?
No,
or,
right
like, are you in like that? Okay, so right you're like Impel Down kind of.
Yeah. Okay, pretty much somewhere around there, pretty much. But yeah, and you know what? I looked at Thriller Bark. I saw how many episodes it was. I'm like, thank God I read this. There's no way I was reading. There's no way I was watching Thriller Bark. Like, hell no. No way.
I like Thriller Bark. I like the kind of spooky Halloween theme. But, like, I think it also had some of my favorite moments in the series up to that point. Like, really? Fucking everyone versus, what's that big motherfucker's name? I feel like it's been so long since I read it.
I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, everyone versus that big motherfucker. That was kind of cool. But then, like, when Kuma, that's his name, right? Like, the bear warlord?
I think so.
Yeah, he pulls up because essentially they thought that Moria was just, like, so incapable of, like, handling the Straw Hat. So they sent Kuma to, like, wrap shit up. And I thought that was cool because every time I saw, like, the warlords kind of, like, assemble more than just one of them anyways, I thought like, okay, there's some kind of significance going on to this event. Yeah. And then, like, Zoro pretty much offers himself to him, like, just kill me and let the others go or whatever. That was like kind of badass.
That was cool. That was a cool moment. I'll give you that. But I do feel like when it comes to One Piece, I think I'm pretty sure you could say the same thing, where the fan base makes it so hard to like One Piece sometimes, where you're like, I think it's like I can see the vision of why someone would think this is one of the greatest pieces of media that they've ever seen. I understand, but it's like anytime I open my mouth about One Piece, I just get shitted on over and over again. And it's like, now you just make me want to hate for no reason. Now I'm going to hate on it, even though I think it's good. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know how you feel about that.
I've actually, like, I've kind of come to, like, a more enlightened position on One Piece fans. And I think this is the issue. I think it's that whenever I'm reading something and I tweet, I'm naturally going to want to tweet about it. Because obviously the things I tweet about are related to what's going on in my mind, my life, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think that naturally brings with it, like, more exposure to other people that like this thing. Duh. Because if I tweet about One Piece fans are going to, be drawn to it in a sense. Not in the sense that, like, oh, everyone's got to see the new Doofy One Piece tweet. Although I'd say there was a time when that was certainly the case. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, if I talk about One Piece fans are going to just be there because I'm talking about One Piece and this is online, and that's kind of like how communities work and whatnot.
Right.
And I think it's that in those moments I'm just becoming oversaturated with, like, the fan base, and I'm taking on more than I think an average person would take on. And so when I tweet about One Piece, I'm just kind of getting way too much at once. But I don't think that it's necessarily, like, just One Piece fans, because I had the same experience on TikTok, like, in 2021 with Hunter x Hunter and Attack on Titan. Because I always use, like, Levi as an example of, like, although he's well characterized, like, he's a pretty shitty, like, poorly written character. Like, I don't think he's particularly deep. I don't think that he's particularly unique in any way. He embodies, like, some Stoic ideals, but, like, people were trying to say, Levi's a Stoic, therefore he good. And I'm like, no, just, like, embodying a philosophy doesn't make you good unless you're, contributing something new to that conversation. And he wasn't really. He's pretty much just lifting up this pre-existing philosophy and just putting it there for everyone to see. And I used to use him as an example, like, as a bad character writing, essentially. And obviously I'm talking about Attack on Titan. That's going to bring a lot of Attack on Titan fans there. There's just too much at once. And so they were kind of like my fucking biggest haters for a while. So it's essentially like whatever I'm talking about becomes the problem fan base. But, like, when you stop talking about it, they're not a problem. It's like I haven't talked about One Piece in fucking ages, and I barely see anything but One Piece. Now, the live action just came out, and I'm seeing a lot. But I'm fine. Like, I'm glad people are enjoying this thing they have. But Sorry, I fucking talk a lot, dog.
No, you're good.
But like, I do see what you mean. It's the expectations, I think, is the issue with fans. Sometimes they just set the bar too high. You know, you get there. If you're already like not loving One Piece, it's like obviously I don't think much will change your mind. But you know, you're constantly having to face like what they're saying the quality of the series is. That kind of sets the bar in your mind. And when you kind of inevitably don't reach it, you're kind of left with like a taste in your mouth. And it's that discrepancy. Right. It still could be good, but like they're just saying it's so much better, and it's that kind of gap that you're experiencing that makes it not feel as good.
Right. And for me, it's like I think the only reason why I'm even still like giving One Piece a chance is because of the fact that, you know, One Piece fans always constantly say like, if you're not caught up with One Piece, I don't know if I can take your like I don't know if I can take your opinion seriously and stuff like that. And it's like eventually I'm gonna know what the ending of One Piece is because it's gonna be all over the internet regardless. So I might as well catch up so that I could see it in context of like, you know, this ending that's gonna eventually happen. It's gonna break the internet regardless. Like no matter whether it's good or bad, the ending's gonna break the internet regardless. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it is what it is. I mean, you know, One Piece fans, if that was your, you know, your motive, I guess it worked for what it is. I'm going to keep reading One Piece, but man, you guys are some of the most toxic people I've ever, you know, two One Piece fans told me to kill myself. Which is like, yo.
I think I saw you tweet about that actually, unless I'm like just making shit up, but yeah, no, that's always good. That's always going to be crazy. Like,
yeah,
but you know that's more of like just shitty people who are One Piece fans more than like One Piece fans do this kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm trying to be nice to them now. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to make everyone my friend, but like
trying to make them your friend.
Yeah, trying to like undo our bad history together. But I want to read it to the end and catch up because I just want to see it end. Like, I want to be there, like, when the final pillar of the big three crumbles. Because I was there for all of them, right? I was there when Naruto ended. I was there when Bleach ended. I want to be there when One Piece ends. I want to see, like, the legacy run just finish and just the final pillar crumble.
Right.
And then that'll really usher in a new era of anime and manga. Once fucking One Piece is done.
Man, that's it.
I'm excited for it. Like, I think right now, I saw Secret Doves made a really good point that we're in a pretty, like, important moment in like manga history because like there's just so many like groundbreaking series coming out, like in terms of like Sakamoto Days with its kind of dynamic action scenes, Chainsaw Man with its really unique paneling, and he like gave like a list of like groundbreaking things that are happening in manga and like citing where these things are influencing one another. It's very exciting, and I think that once we kind of like brush off the fucking the chip of the old battle shonen ways, I think we can really be embracing something good and new.
Right.
And I'm excited.
I'm excited, but also a little worried. This leads me into my next question of what do you think of the state of Weekly Shonen Jump right now? Because people are saying like right now it's really been carried by One Piece and Sakamoto Days, and like the rest of the series that they have in Weekly Shonen Jump is starting to end for the most part. So it's like, what do you think? How do I rephrase this? Do you think Weekly Shonen Jump is kind of in a hurry to find that next anime and manga that could really carry them into the next generation, because they can't keep One Piece forever? You know what I mean? Like One Piece, it'll go on for a long time, but eventually it's going to end, and everything else they have is ending. Like, what are your thoughts on the state of Shonen Jump right now? Weekly Shonen Jump.
Yeah, I think that like the state of it, I think that it's fundamentally changing. Because I think when people talk about like the worry about the future of Shonen Jump, it's because they're like, oh no, they don't have like this new megastar like JJK, or not JJK, but like MHA or like One Piece or something like that. But I think that kind of presupposes that Shonen Jump wants to keep producing like these long like 700 chapter like epics. But I don't think that's the direction of the manga industry anymore. I think that right now there's more focused on like wrapping shit up in like 200 chapters. I think like even Demon Slayer, how long was that? Like 200-ish chapters, or am I just totally?
I think that's. I want to say it's less than 200. If I want to, like a little less, but I'm not sure.
But I think that's a good example of like what we can expect in the future. These kind of like I think that it will still find series because just things are going to be generally a lot shorter. So there's going to be like a lot more waves of manga coming in. And I think again, if you just have so many new manga cropping up each year, you're bound to like at least find one that resonates with people. Like right now, I'm kind of again out of touch with the ongoing manga, but I think the Cypress Academy series is doing pretty decent. If I'm not like out of touch, I have no idea. I could be completely out of touch with that. But all that to say, manga getting shorter. I think people like that. We don't have like this long drawn out stuff anymore. That means more series are ending. Opens more opportunities for people to submit new manga, and with more new manga, like there's more opportunities for one to like click with people, and it only takes like the one to click, and that alone can drive up their sales. And I think that that's fine. I think Shonen Jump's good. I also think that like in terms of like variety, they're doing probably better than ever. Really, I mean, like they got like Blue Box, which is like the really unique kind of like romance sports kind of. It's not much of a traditional sports, but it's more of a romance. But like, it just fulfills that niche very well, I think. Again, Akane Banashi is like something really new for Jump. The one that kind of has me like down and like a little upset is Ruri Dragon, because that was genuinely like a series that was so new for Jump, with that kind of cutesy like Dragons Maid type of like like appeal to that audience, and it did it so well. And it's just like on pretty much indefinite hiatus. That kind of whomps because like they have good variety. They still have their One Piece, MHA, and whatever. Obviously, it's all wrapping up, but like, I have no doubts they'll find something new to fulfill that.
Do you think Weekly Shonen Jump will end up being just kind of in the middle? Because this is just my thing, right? Where I think Weekly Shonen Jump will be fine. Like they'll still be around. Obviously, they'll still have hits, but I have a feeling that another magazine will end up overtaking them eventually if they don't find the next One Piece or something like that. Like. People are already looking towards like Jump Plus, even though it's the same company, right? Like people are already saying like Jump Plus will eventually be the Weekly Shonen Jump of the new era, stuff like that. Do you see that happening, or do you think Weekly Shonen Jump is just going to still stay like at the top of everyone's list?
I think the gap is just so fucking big between Weekly Shonen Jump and like every other magazine. I think that gap will close, obviously, if something like One Piece ends. And a lot of like those big battle shown that we all go to it for. I think like once all those ends, the gap will start to close a bit. But I find it difficult to think that like any other magazine will be able to like rival it. I mean, even when whoever did fucking Attack on Titan, I don't even think even that magazine.
That mature magazine, right?
Yeah, I don't even know if like that magazine could rival Weekly Shonen Jump like when AO2 was at its peak, right? So. Yeah. Like it just goes to show you that even like with an absolute like generational piece like Attack on Titan behind it, it wasn't enough to like close the gap with Weekly Shonen Jump. But I also could just be making this shit up. I do that frequently. Nobody fact checks me because I said it with such confidence, right? But we move. We create our own reality.
Man, I think Weekly Shonen Jump will be fine for sure. Anyways, do you think that Shonen is going more and more towards a seinen feeling type deal? Because I was talking to some people about this, where it's interesting that Shonen Jump used to be clearly like, this is shonen, where it's very like a young boy, like he's very like he wants to save the world, very like he's good in every sense of the way, and he like improves on that, and he wants justice for everything. Whereas recently, at least in anime, I know this happened a couple years ago in manga, but we got things like Chainsaw Man and JJK and Hell's Paradise and Tokyo Revengers, where it's like these aren't really the good, like, go for it type characters anymore. They're very much more nuanced, where like, well, look at Denji and Chainsaw Man, where he just wanted to, get pussy and like have a roof over his head and like have food. You know what I mean? You got guys like Yuji Itadori, where he doesn't really care to save the world. He's kind of just doing what his grandfather told him to do, and he just wants to have fun. You know what I mean? Like, how do you feel about this direction that Shonen is starting to go into, where it's starting to be more this mature-ish, not all the way mature like Berserk, obviously, but like definitely more heading towards that direction? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think there's like maybe like three-ish things to consider with this. I mean, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I think that Shonen first rose to popularity like in the 2000s, and it really hit the mainstream. Again, a lot of it, obviously was appreciated and whatnot, but a lot of it was still met with like backlash of like, this is like brain dead shonen. And that kind of forced people to like try to take the series a little more seriously, kind of write out, a lot of that derailing comedy, kind of focus on like making things a little more complex and less straightforward to kind of again avoid charges of being like just brain dead. So I think that kind of explains the trend in a certain way, but also I think they were kind of forced to, in the sense that like you can only do Goku so many times. Like people are gonna get bored with like the plain stock version of like that good guy. You know what I mean? Before they're kind of like, I've seen this before. I've seen this done better. Because oftentimes they're going to compare it to their first exposure to the archetype, which will almost always be a higher standard in their head because, bias and whatnot. So they're kind of forced to like make it more nuanced to kind of distinguish themselves from the earlier iterations of like the archetype. So that's the other thing. And then the third thing I think is just like as a society, people are just more, I don't know, this is just like me kind of going off anecdotes, I suppose, but it seems to be like parents are almost like less strict in a way, I think, than they have been before. Like, I mean, growing up, I wasn't even allowed to like watch Simpsons like for so long.
Oh wow!
But, like you know what I mean? But like now it's like 8-year-olds like watching like Family Guy, or, like South Park, like, and it's like totally fine. Like nobody thinks twice about it. So I just think like socially it's becoming a little more accepted for like younger people to be exposed to a little more. So that kind of opens the door for like series to like show a little more than what they used to before. Like they used to be super strict on what you can depict in like animated, shows before, but that they've kind of like a little more lax on that now. I think I could be totally wrong, but so I think that explains why it's happening. Do I think it's good? Yeah, I mean, I also don't want to see Goku like for 10 million times. I want a main character with a bit of, I think it's good because I think it's just conducive to like more unique series that I can enjoy. So I like it. I'm here for it. But at the same time, like, I think that is oversaturating the market, and that's why something like Sakamoto Days is just like a nice breath of fresh air. So yeah, I think it's good.
Okay, cool. Honestly, let me ask you this about these Paragon / static type main characters, like Goku, like Naruto in a sense, like
Come on now, dog. Naruto ain't a static character. Come on now,
you don't think so?
I'll give you Goku. No, I'll give you Goku. Naruto's very dynamic.
So Luffy, you would think Luffy is one of those type of characters,
I'd
right?
say Luffy's
so
static-esque.
Static-esque, yeah. Do you think they'll come back in popularity, or do you think they're kind of just, they feel too old, like the older way of like writing stuff like that? Do you think they're ever going to come back?
I think that there will always be like, I'll put it to you this way, I think because there's so much focus on like making your shonen like really dark and gritty and taking itself seriously, I think with just so much of that coming up, that creates like the opportunity for a series to kind of just like, be different and kind of go back to like that old school form. So I think it's still not totally unreasonable to think that we'll find like Goku number 906 in a few more anime seasons or whatever. I think it'll still happen. It'll see some like mild success to people and be like, oh, we haven't seen like this in a while. But I don't think it'll ever become like the norm again. Like I don't think we'll go back to that kind of writing that we saw, especially like in 2000s Jump. Yeah, it'll crop up here and there, but I don't think it'll like overtake, at least in my guess. The JJK and Chainsaw Mans and Hell's Paradises of the world. The dark trio.
Dude,
the dark big three, evil big three.
When I heard Dark Trio, I was like, yo, you guys are cringe as fuck. Like, what the
dark big three. The dark trio. That is crazy.
Yo, I'm like, bro, how cringe can you get? What the?
Yeah, I don't like that one. But it's like the perfect thing to get people talking. Like, because for one, I think it makes sense to a lot of people that like these three came out of it at the same time and they're darker than what we are used to. But then it's also like, it kind of like gets the elitists like me all riled. I'm like, oh, this is so stupid, blah, 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 blah. So like, you know what I mean? Like using it as such like a good way to just get like traction and attention, like on both sides from the people that are like, yeah, this makes sense. It's intuitive. And the girl, you can't say that. That's stupid. Like, it's perfect. I love it.
Wait, have you ever heard of the term the Halo Series 4? Have you heard of that?
Dude, is that like in reference to like Berserk, Vagabond?
No, those are people that are trying to insert Tokyo Revengers in there, like out of the Dark Trio. Those are the people that I'm like, yo, what?
I love that. I love that because it's just fucking so out of place. It just does not belong with the other three, like at all.
I was
love
like,
that.
Why are you guys trying to sneak into Tokyo Revengers in the Dark Trio? What's going on?
Okay, can I just say, I don't know what it is with like you flow guys and like still bringing up Tokyo Revengers. I guess like the anime's still going on. You guys are like more anime guys, but like for me, like Tokyo Revengers is like so fucking over. Like it's been over for like a couple years in my head. Like it's totally irrelevant.
Yeah,
now.
it's over. Yeah,
but like
man.
But like the anime, I guess, is still coming out and kind of keeping it alive on the anime side of things, which I'm out of touch with.
I heard the newest season that's coming out in October is like peak Tokyo Revengers, and I heard after this arc it goes downhill from here. Let me figure out what it's the
you read it at all?
No, I haven't read Tokyo Revengers. I was told not to read it, so I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm gonna read it. It's the people with the red. Wait, you wouldn't. Wait, it's another gang. It's the gang that that one dude ends up joining after he gets kicked out of Tomen. I forgot what the gang's called.
I mean, it's been so long for me. You could just be, you could say whatever, and I'd probably just be like, yep,
it sounds about right.
Adds up.
This is gonna bother me actually. Let me look this up. Hold on.
I mean, it makes sense to me. Yeah. Okay. Season 3.
Let me see.
Tenjiku?
The dude with the white hair.
I think people don't like this one. Really?
Really? I've heard people say it goes downhill after this arc. Is what I heard. I don't know how true it is.
It definitely goes downhill after this arc.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, never mind. I'm gaslighting you. I'm thinking of something else. But I mean, in my opinion, you've already patched the good shit. Like fucking Valhalla, and Black Dragon. Like that was like.
So that's the good shit.
Tokyo Revengers, in my opinion.
I'm so curious how this is gonna go. Then I'm like, oh, is this gonna be good? I don't know. Because honestly, at this point, I'm watching Tokyo Revengers to see like, okay, where did it go wrong? Like, where did it go wrong?
the final arc, like it's just bad. Like chapter after chapter, it was like that. No, okay, I think I'm gaslighting you. Tenjiku arc and the Boten arc are both like good. I'm looking at like the chapter list and like a brief description of each. Like, no, these ones are also good. I think these might even be my favorites. I don't remember.
Okay.
Because I picked it up around chapter 200. I was like pretty late to the party. It was really good around then. But it's the final arc that was just like
that ruins it, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's also like it had no business going on as long as it did. You know what I mean? Like how many times can fucking Takamichi go back in time, fix things, come back and something else is fucked up. Like it gets boring after a while.
It gets a little formulaic for sure.
Yeah, and I think like if it would have ended like I don't know, if they could have wrapped that up by like chapter 200, it would have been still talked about amongst manga fans as like one of the defining manga of our generation. It could have been, but that final arc just fumbled it entirely.
Bro, the fact that Disney picked up the rights to release the anime is crazy to me. I'm like, yo.
Oh, did it? Why? Holy shit.
So Tokyo Revengers is now exclusive to Hulu because Disney picked up the rights. And I'm like, how?
Wow.
Why? Like, why Tokyo Revengers? I'm curious.
That is a weird one, yeah.
That's weird. What is it? Oh, I did want to ask you. So, out of the big three, your favorite's Naruto, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Why? I'm curious why.
It's the best one. Duh. It's the best one.
You're
like asking me why like the most important piece of fiction in my life is my like favorite piece of media.
Yeah, sure.
It's a big question. It's a big question, buddy. It's a big question. Big questions require big answers, but I'm gonna try and keep it simple.
Okay.
Naruto, I think like the content of the show is great. I think it's just a tremendously well written show. Sasuke is like one of my favorite character arcs. I think a lot of the criticisms he's been met with are really like unfounded, and people don't understand the point of his character. Like during the war arc, people were like, why is he going back and forth? Like first he wants to kill Konoha, now he wants to be the Hokage, now he wants to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think people fail to realize like how closely like the war happened in proximity to him finding out the truth about Itachi.
Mm-hmm.
What people also fail to realize is that like Itachi, he spent his whole life understanding that Itachi was the villain. And so that was kind of a central value. That kind of gave his life purpose. He had to kind of get strong enough to beat Itachi. He structures his life around that vision, right? And then after like 18 years or 17 years or 16 years, he finds out like, nope, he was actually your fucking savior. That is literally the most like groundbreaking and life-shattering realization for someone whose whole purpose was to kill him. So he not only found out that his whole like life purpose was misguided, but that he actually was going against his best interests in killing Itachi, because Itachi was kind of like looking out for him. Obviously, Itachi knew like this had to play out for it to be like good and whatever, blah 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 blah. But still, I mean, that's on the psychological level of Sasuke, that's fucking massive. And so obviously, with that kind of basis just taken away from you, it's easy to see you come a little flippant as you have to explore new, like, okay, how am I going to reassess everything? I need to kind of, for one, I need to like do right by all my actions now, because I just spent my whole life doing essentially something that was a failed, mission, and he has to just find something to replace that. So he's kind of like looking around, and I think explains quite reasonably why so flippant in the war or whatever. And I just think it's done so wonderfully. Like I think they really, Kishimoto really did handle that kind of character arc, especially after the realization with such a high level of care and sophistication. Like I was really obviously moved. He's my favorite character. Period. Duh.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of I think careful writing that goes into a lot of the character arcs. Now you could say that the cast is a little oversaturated, or not oversaturated. I guess you could say it's oversaturated because there's too many characters.
It's just not developed, like they don't develop like a lot of the side characters. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Criticism.
I agree. I think in Shippuden, a lot of like the Konoha 9 or 11 or whatever, a lot of them are forgotten about. Like, fuck it, fuck Shino, fuck Kiba, fuck all these guys. But this is actually why I come to the defense of fucking filler a lot, is because obviously it's canon, but like if we want to just talk about from like a person experiencing the franchise and wanting more, a lot of like the early Naruto filler, had these side quests of like Naruto plus, like Shino and then like Choji, randomly the three of them going on a mission. And again, sure, you can argue, this isn't canon, so why should it matter? This shouldn't be factored into your critique of the series. Like, yeah, but sorry, I realized I in my head I have to keep like going back one step to try and like explain and justify why I'm going throughout to explain things.
You're good.
The discussion around like filler and canon, I think, is stupid, because if you want to criticize Kishimoto for not having done a certain thing, then you're like, sure, you can kind of write off filler. But like, if you just want to experience Naruto and all that it has to offer, I mean, I think there are filler that like adequately flesh out certain characters that kind of remove the criticism that Naruto as a show doesn't address this, like a certain character's development. Like there's this fucking like little 3-episode side arc that goes to like Anko's past with Orochimaru, super fucking well done. Kind of fleshed her out, made her feel a little more real, blah blah blah. So like, sorry, I don't know what is Blood waffling on about. Anyways,
no, you're good.
I'm ending that tangent there because I don't feel like I'm being very proud with it. But why do I think it's good? I mean, okay, I think the content of the show is great. I think Sasuke is a well-written character.
Okay.
Blah blah blah. Obviously, choreography. I think
choreography is insane. It's insane.
Insane. Great music. Looks nice. Kishimoto's a great like mangaka. I love his paneling early on. It's quite brilliant. So like, I don't know. The content of the show is great. This was my very, very poor attempt at trying to explain why the content of the show is great. But that's not why it's my favorite. That's not why it's my favorite. My reason for liking it is like not purely, of course, but largely external things. Like I was in grade 5 when I first encountered the show. Like I kind of bonded with my first best friend over the show. We'd watch it together, just create good memories. Like we used to fucking like make paper shurikens. We used to make our own like Anbu mask and run around like throwing ninja stars at each other. And then slowly, as our friend group built, more people got into Naruto, and like everyone had their own favorite. Like, bro, I had somebody whose favorite character was fucking Shino. I knew someone whose fucking favorite character was Kiba. Okay, we all had our favorite. We all wanted to have a character.
Kiba's crazy. Kiba's crazy.
Seriously, dude, I wish I had like screenshot my old messages because like one guy swore by fucking Kiba. Now people could say, oh, these guys didn't have much development or whatever, but I don't think that they loved them because of like their development. I think my friends kind of saw like this kind of basic characterization that they were really drawn to, and they can project their own interests and desires onto that character and like be like, this is mine. I'm different than my other friends because I got Kiba. I'm different because I got Shino. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like this slowly growing community that, I mean, from grade 5 up until like now, a lot of my friends we've all bonded over Naruto. Like I remember being like in my grade 12, so my high school graduation, like we were all like fucking wasted on one of our friends like back deck, and we're just screaming at each other like, who would win, fucking Suigetsu or Zabuza? Oh, Zabuza's the better swordsman, but you can't kill Suigetsu because he's fucking made of water. Like, oh man, like our whole life, like we've always been involved with Naruto. It's really this whole ecosystem that extends beyond the show that I got involved in. Like I used to be in forums talking about Naruto, the Flash games, the fan animations, like fucking Numa with like Toby dancing, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I got you.
Whole sphere of things that are all kind of hinged on Naruto's existence, and I was like deep in that web, and it was very formative, I think, very formative for me.
So it was very much like a time and place thing where Naruto hits you at like the right time in your life, and like it. Yeah, I definitely understand that, and I definitely feel like people should understand that sometimes a good anime hits you at the wrong time. so like it doesn't hit you as well. But when the right anime hits you at the right time, it just feels different. You know what I mean? And I think that's very valid for sure. And it's interesting that you talk about Sasuke because I'm actually a little torn on Sasuke. I know I have people that swear that he is a well-written character, and I have some people that swear he's a terribly written character. And it's like, it's so interesting hearing their reasonings. And I definitely need to come back because I'm not the type of guy that like just follows people. I want to make my own conclusion of like, how do I really feel about Sasuke? Because he's a very polarizing character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he is.
Definitely one of those.
I think, I mean, obviously it's biased here, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But it's like, I think, I get the impression that the general consensus is that Sasuke is a well-written character. I think a good, like, indicator for this, again, I'd be glazing this guy all the time, but fucking Doves, who hates Battle Shonen, who doesn't even, like, love Naruto, but he's, you know, I did a video with him, and he's like, you know, just show me more Sasuke. Like, this guy fucking hates Battle Shonen, doesn't really even like Naruto, but he was like, I'm all here for Sasuke. That guy, that was one fucking motherfucker. So that really caught me off guard, actually, for him to kind of speak to Sasuke with such high praise. Now, he has issues with, like, pretty much everything else, but, like, I think that there's a good case for, like, I think a lot of people would acknowledge Sasuke, the quality of his writing. I think a lot of the backlash just comes from, like, you know, Kishi's influences. So
I see.
You know, Togashi, essentially. I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Do you think it's Kishimoto, or do you think it's just Shonen Jump telling him to write Sasuke in a certain way to like extend certain arcs in the manga, or do you think it's just Kishimoto?
I think it's both because you know, Kishimoto famously only came up with Sasuke at the last minute because his editor was like, we need a rival character.
That's true.
And he's like, okay. And I think that if he had to come up with a rival short notice, he wasn't going to have enough time to develop it into like a unique and nuanced way. So he probably just, you know, wrote what he knew best, which would have been something Togashi had already wrote. So yeah, early Sasuke drawing on like a lot of the basic archetypes that we would expect as fans, especially like in Hunter x Hunter and Yu Hakusho.
Right. Yeah, that explains a lot why, like, you know, there's so many parallels between Kurapika and Sasuke. It makes total sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think, okay, this is it. I actually really want to know your take on this. Do you think if written in a certain way, there's a chance that Naruto and Sasuke are secretly gay lovers for each other?
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, Naruto is just, gotta get Sasuke.
Man, on Sasuke's dick all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's already written in such a way where it's like, this isn't as weird as people try to like make it out when they kind of try to belittle the series. Like, why is he so obsessed with him? Well, I mean, again, if you just understand like his background, like bro was literally like a social outcast his whole life. Then he gets kind of forced into this 3-man squad, and you know, you can kind of see and resonate with Sasuke a little bit. They kind of have that rivalry, that camaraderie kind of building up through a lot of the early missions. Like, this was really like Sasuke's Naruto's like really first like person you can connect to at any level, have that interpersonal relationship with. So like, obviously it makes sense. I think a good analogy is like, maybe it's not a good analogy, but when a boy and a girl, like for example, get in a relationship, if it's their first relationship, like they're both just weird about it. I think people who are in their first relationship are just weird about it, and they're oddly obsessive with one another. That's just something I've observed across a lot of people, and I kind of see that basic tendency at work in the Naruto Sasuke relationship. They're just, he's just a little fucking weird about Sasuke because you know, this is his first. Can they be secret lovers? I think so. I think that you could be an argument for it.
Why do you think he goes on long missions? You know, hey, to secretly meet up. You don't know, bro. You don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. Honestly, everyone.
Honestly, I'm team Naruto x Sasuke. Honestly, I'm like, you might as well at this point. Like, the way they're written, I'm like, just do it. I don't know what to tell you. Just do it. Just make it happen.
I don't want them to break up the fucking atomic family they have, or the nuclear family of Sasuke, Sakura, and Sadara, though. They mean too much to me. We can't have any family affairs like that. That'd be too. All right, we'll keep that. Don't crush me.
All right. So, final thing I want to talk about with you is your love for Yu-Gi-Oh. Where did this spawn? And I'm so curious your obsession with Yu-Gi-Oh GX. I'm out of all the different iterations of Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm so curious why specifically Yu-Gi-Oh GX you just like obsess about. I mean, you have Jaden Yugi as your freaking your PFP on Twitter, so I'm like, yo, What's up with you, bro? What's up with that?
That is my character, man. That is fucking my character. I think it's a good story, and this is a good question because we'll go back to like my first YouTube anime career, 2012, 2013, right?
Okay.
And you know, I did the same kind of content now as I do on the Doofy channel essentially, but it was much more rudimentary. I did like kind of my top 10, top 25 series, like the more I'd watch and I'd update them, blah, blah, blah. You know, I had a little ecosystem of people over there too. One of the people that I used to be friends with on that channel did a top 10. And I thought quite highly of this person. They were well articulate. They described and defended the series, I think, very well. Very well. So I really admired him, I guess, in that light. And he did a top 25 where he said Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 4 was in his top 10 favorite anime of all time. And I'm like...
Season 4?
Yeah, it's oddly specific. But two, what blew me back with that was Yugioh. Because in my head, okay, I'm in high school, so just for background at that point, in my head, I'm like, but this is like a kid's show. You know what I mean? How could that be in your top 10? Like, I watched it as a kid. I loved GX as a kid. Like, I was, fond about it. But, like, how could that be in your top 10 anime of all time? And he gave a pretty good defense of it. And I don't know if I was convinced, but, like, it made sense. But I was still a little taken aback. And just through discussions with him, I was kind of prompted to, like, go back through GX, this time in sub. And I did. And I was just pleasantly surprised. I watched it, and it wasn't the show that I remembered. And I think that the reason that this takes people aback, and I talk about this in my Yu-Gi-Oh video, whenever the fuck that's coming out. But I think people are surprised to hear any praise for Yu-Gi-Oh because their understanding of the series is one of the anime, which is already usually this applies more so, I guess, to the original Yu-Gi-Oh than GX, but it'll kind of apply to GX also. For one, the Yu-Gi-Oh anime is already like a kind of questionable adaptation of the original manga.
Right.
For two, most people watch the dub. Duh. And it was 4Kids. 4Kids famous for butchering series. So it's already a questionable dub of a questionable adaptation. But then the third kind of strike here is that their only memories of the show is from when they were a kid. And what's the most important feature of kids? They're fucking stupid, right? So if your only impression of the show is, for one, a questionable dub of a questionable adaptation at a time when you're stupid, obviously your understanding of the show is going to be quite low, poor, and you're going to have a pretty bad, well, not only a bad understanding, but you're going to think poorly of it. You're going to think it's just for kids. However, because of, this one friend, I was kind of forced to go back when I was a little older, a little more mature, and watch, the sub for the show, which is, again, quite different than a dub. And I think my understanding changed because, for one, I was looking at it in a more favorable light. I wanted to like it because this person I kind of admired was like, you should really give this a chance. It's good. So I wanted to give it a chance, and I watched it in the Japanese, and I saw what you were saying. And I think the thing that gripped me the most was Judai's character arc, because it is phenomenally written. It is. Okay. I think it's the most impressive character arc in all of anime, even more than Sasuke's. I think because Sasuke, I think, starts off like a pretty well written character, and obviously only gets better. But what makes Judai's development so impressive to me is like he really starts like a fucking stupid generic protagonist, and then ends up this like multifaceted, like super nuanced and so I'm just throwing out buzzwords.
No, you're good.
Super well written and surprisingly complex character at the end of the series. So that massive development from like the most generic whatever character to fucking who he is at the end of season 4 was just genuinely mind blowing. I'm like, wait a minute, there's something here. And once you grab onto any like thing like that, it only takes one nugget of like wisdom for you to just want to like go farther. And now I think a lot of my praise for the series probably comes down to me like really trying to piece things together, and that's fine. But I still think that I have arguments for a lot of like why this is genuinely like some well written shit. Why GX? I mean, that was just kind of the Yu-Gi-Oh when I was growing up. Probably.
I see. Okay.
Because like I remember like when 5Ds came out, and everyone was like, "Fucking motorcycles? Are you crazy?" As if a fucking Dueling Academy was any better. But I actually think a Dueling Academy makes sense. I wrote a review of GX like on Annulus, and I think that this is like comparable to like esports. Everyone kind of knows about it. You know what I mean? Like everyone kind of knows about it. People are kind of like questioning its legitimacy or whatever, but like people have made careers out of this.
Right.
And I know they don't have an esports school per se, but like they definitely like organizations have like academies and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that crazy to imagine one day we could have a fucking like a gaming school. So that's kind of like I think it is actually a lot more realistic than people make it out to be. It's still fucking children's card games, I guess, at the end of the day. And that's why I always say, I mean, ultimately it is still a children's card game, and sometimes the state of the world is at risk, and that can be ridiculous to some people, and that can be difficult to digest. You have to kind of just get past that.
Right.
Once you do get past it and you kind of just like understand the series for what it is, there is surprising depth and nuance to be found.
Honestly, for me with Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, where I realized, because I've seen the show too, not all the way through. I think it was when they went into a different like dimension, where I was like, this is interesting, and I was like, where is this going? You know what I mean? And I think that's where Judai or Jaden Yugi for you guys, like with the 4Kids dub, he turns into something else where he goes into, I think I remember when I was a kid, he got taken over by a spirit, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's a whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember from like when I was a kid. I'm like, okay, he got taken over by someone. They went into a different dimension. Basically, it turns into an isekai at that point, like basically. And I'm just like, okay. And it turned really dark. I was like, whoa, this is not School Academy, go get him anymore. You know what I mean? It's super dark. Like people are trying to get Jaden, back or whatever, but then they see him as like, he thinks he's the supreme king, ruler, whatever you want to call him. There's this other dual monster spirit. I forgot her name. It's Yubel. Yeah, and I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Non-binary, but we ball.
Oh, well, yeah. You know what I mean.
Like, no. In the dub, they call them a her. I won't hold okay. But this is my little tidbit of the day.
Okay, that's actually them. That's interesting. But I'm just like,
GX is also fucking progressive for its time, dog. Come on now,
dude. Hey man, in the 2000s, no one would have said that. You know what I mean?
Groundbreaking material.
Yeah, I think Yu-Gi-Oh! GX specifically is definitely way more complex than people make it out to be, because of the fact that 4Kids always dumbs it down for everyone, and that, of course, that's the version we grew up with. You know what I mean? I really should go back, because this is similar to how I felt about Digimon Tamers, where it's basically like Digimon's a kid show, but for some reason at like the halfway point of, or even the later third of Digimon Tamers, it turned dark, and it's like, whoa, people are actually dying. And like, you're like, whoa, this is crazy. And so I definitely see Yu-Gi-Oh! GX in that light. And how do you feel about the other iterations of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or if you've even seen the other iterations of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, how do you feel about those?
Well, I think like the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga is like almost a masterpiece. I mean, that's why I'm making a video essay on it. I think it's like terrific. It's very interesting too, because while we all know Yu-Gi-Oh! For like, as this big, this kid show, it's just trying to sell card games to kids. The original manga obviously was not seen like that when it first came out, and it was surprisingly, everyone takes this angle when it comes to talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! But like, it was surprisingly darker. In the season 0 material, I mean, like in chapter 4, I only know this so specifically because again, this is in the video, but like a prisoner escapes, goes to like the shop where Taya is working. I'll use the English names for you guys, and holds her at gun. For one, it would have been illegal for Taya to actually work because she was too young. For 2, he fucking holds her at gunpoint, and then for 3, like the shots of him like drinking alcohol and like smoking in there. And the only reason that they kind of get out of this is because Yugi kind of engages a game with him where he wins, and the result of the game is the guy gets fucking burned alive. Like the last panel is just the guy up in fucking flames with Yugi taking Taya out, and it's like, damn. And then the chapter after that, there's like this magician, I think, or maybe a couple chapters ahead, and they like fucking just take chlorophyll and just fucking try to like kidnap a girl, Damn. So it's, and then I mean, there's also other shit like fucking Pegasus is killed in the manga, Bandit Keith is like killed in the manga, and they show it like with no remorse. So it's when it was coming out in the manga, people looked at it in the same way they would have looked at, like, Hunter x Hunter or One Piece. Like, it wasn't like just a kid show. Like, it was, a teen manga. It obviously wasn't like fucking Berserk, but it wasn't belittled to like the status of like, for children. It was, looked at in the same light as like Yu Yu Hakusho and those series from Jump. So I love the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously. I would say like that extends to the original anime too. I think the original anime has a lot of like issues, pacing, filler, stuff like that.
Of course.
Like every adaptation from the 2000s, but it's still phenomenal. 5Ds, another pretty like groundbreaking anime.
I really liked 5Ds actually.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's motorcycles dueling, it's weird, but it's like I really like. I think I love the concept of synchro summoning, like where they have like you don't have to sacrifice monsters. You can just like I'ma have this, add this level to it, boom. Like I'm gonna make this. I think it was such a cool concept. Like I don't know, it was so interesting what they did.
And also narratively, like it was also quite progressive. Like it dealt a lot with class issues, like at a pretty sophisticated level for a children's TV show. Like
right.
I think again 5Ds was another one of those, like it was the last of like the big three of Yu-Gi-Oh! Essentially,
right?
In terms of like I would say quality. I think the first three Yu-Gi-Oh! Are phenomenal. Now Zexal,
man,
I never finished Zexal, but like Newberton swears by Zexal. Like the second season of
Zexal.
Noob
swears by Zexal.
He's a big Zexal guy.
What?
And I don't get it because I only watched like the first 50 episodes. But I mean, apparently, like I've even looked into this because Noob's a weird guy. You don't always take his opinion seriously.
He's weird. Yeah.
But like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh fans speak very highly of like the second season of Yu-Gi-Oh Zexal, and really? I was shocked. But it makes me kind of want to watch it.
I want to go into it actually. Well, I think what happened was I think I've only seen maybe part of the first season of Zexal, and to me, what was disappointing is I felt like they dumbed down the dueling a lot because of the fact that I'm a huge synchro. I love the synchro summoning in 5Ds, and it felt like they were dumbing down of like let's just get 2 monsters or 3 with the same level. We're good, and it's like. I miss when you can just add the levels and like there's different nuances to it. I didn't like that you had the you could only use the ability like 2 or 3 times based on how many you actually like summon with that. I don't know. It felt like it was dumbed down, but if people say the second season of Zexal's good, hey, I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe they do some cool stuff with it.
And you gotta be careful what you wish for, man, because then we get fucking Arc 5 and Pendulum Summons just fucking. Man. I was done with Yu-Gi-Oh at that point. Dude, I watched a bit of Arc 5, but I know a lot of like modern Yu-Gi-Oh fans make fun of people like me for kind of saying that pendulums were too complex, but like fuck those guys, man. Pendulums were too much for me, man. That was the fucking straw for me.
Bro, you know what? I have a cousin that actually played the Yu-Gi-Oh like TCG, like the actual card game. He told me pendulum summoning got stupid, like super dumb. Where like he's like, this isn't even fun to play anymore. I'm like,
I used to play a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh too, right? Like I was really big also like on the synchro era. That was when I think I took Yu-Gi-Oh the most serious, like in terms of like the card game. And that was fun. Like I thought that was a good pace for the game. Like it wasn't too fast or too crazy. Like I remember when Shooting Star Dragon came out, or maybe it was Quasar Dragon. Then people had those fucking combos to get it out like first turn. Like that was like getting a little crazy to me. But now that's probably still considered quite slow by today's standards. I think the issue is that like Yu-Gi-Oh suffers from power creep in a way that other card games don't, because it doesn't do like block rotations. It just has a ban list. Whereas like Magic, like it's 6 blocks or something like that. You can only use the 6 last sets in your tournament valid decks. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh's like fuck it, use anything you want from Legend of Blue Eyes to wherever we're at now.
I wish they had like more. I wish they did like in Magic they have like these different like types of like
formats.
The formats. I wish Yu-Gi-Oh kind of had that, where like if you if you want to play the synchro format, synchro format right here. If you really wanted to, you know what I mean? It's like I wish they did that more when it came to the actual card game.
They have something like that. They have like the GOAT format, which is you can only use cards from the first like so many sets or something.
Okay.
I think, but I'm not too like caught up along with that. So I do think it's a good addition. I've also noticed like if you've ever been on TikTok, there's a lot of I don't know how many people would be on like Yu-Gi-Oh TikTok.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
but there's a pretty big community of people that will like go on TikTok live and like using dual discs. And
Okay.
Yeah, it's like literally like it's the coolest fucking thing ever. And they do actually kind of specify like, okay, only kind of cards from like this era, and it's like, you know, GX 5Ds kind of things. So stuff that, you know, we'd both be very familiar with. And it's so cool. Like, it's seriously like, I'm in love with it, and I really need a dual disc, and I need to join these motherfuckers.
Dude, you know how expensive those dual discs are now, bro? Like, I wish I got that back in the day when they were readily available. I'm like, man, I wish I kept it.
Yeah.
Man,
I think I actually still have 3. I have 2 of the GX ones, and I have the CL4 Calcos one, which was like the big, like.
Oh yeah, the blue one.
Yeah, but those are like in the shed in a box
somewhere,
buried deep, and they're probably like right scuffed up too.
Probably. I before we end off, I actually do want to go back to what you said about Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 4. What about Season 4? Like, was that when they actually went into the other world?
No, that's Season 3.
So that's Season 3. What about Season 4 was like that change, like, you know, your idol or the guy that you looked up to said Season 4 is in his top 10. What about it? Like, do you think is a top 10 worthy anime?
I think Blood was waffling in hindsight, because I think Season 3 overall is better.
Oh, okay.
Season 4 has like Yugi versus Jaden, and
that's where it had it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it has the culmination of Judai's like character arc. But I don't think it's particularly like much darker than Season 3, for example. But I think the reason he cited Season 4 is because it was only in Japanese, and so you were forced to watch in Japanese, and so you can't, like, you don't have like this lingering image of the dub that's like the softened version. So I really think it was like just a psychological thing where like he was kind of forced to watch that only in dub and subbed first, and that kind of left the impression that this is the standard of darkness, even if he kind of goes back and watches everything in the dub. I think because this is only subbed, it just kind of seems a little darker.
But you would say Season 3 and 4 overall are just better versions of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX over Season 1 and 2, obviously. Like,
I mean, Season 1's just like self-contained goofs and gaffs. Like, I actually prefer Season 1 in dub because of how like hilariously stupid a lot of the jokes are. Yeah. Like, a lot of people be like, oh my god, it's so corny, but like that shit is just so fucking funny to me. Like, I love the stupid 4Kids gags in the already like stupid, you know, gaggy episode that they've written. Like, it's perfect to me. Season 2, it's like, you know, they have like the Society of Light coming through, things start to change a bit. That I would, you know, I'd switch to the sub there, because I think that there is some pretty important plot points that are really missed in the dub. But definitely by Season 3, like, you know, the best novel experience is subbed.
Oh, actually, I just remembered this. Does Zane stay like emo Zane? Like,
it's Hell Kaiser. Oh my god, I don't know. Am I allowed to spoil or?
I honestly, I think it's okay, because either way, I'll be excited to see like what happened, like how he got to that point. But like just to say it.
Yeah, it actually it almost kills him. So they're in like the fucking dark dimension world, and he's dueling Johan, who's been possessed by the Supreme King or fucking whatever. And I don't remember if he was about to win or not, but like, you know, he was playing with the stipulation that like he'd get fucking electrocuted every time he took damage or whatever. And it just got to a point where he couldn't play anymore. Like, his heart stopped, and he just fucking like fell, and like the duel was over, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" And it was like a really well written scene. Like, it was moving. I cried to that shit. And it was like almost perfect. And I say almost perfect because he comes back next season, and he's literally just in a fucking wheelchair, like in his big black coat the whole season, and he does fucking nothing. And I'm like,
he turned into Mike
back for what? Just to be a
Mike
like,
guy, bro.
Fucking, you know, like, he came back for no reason, and he just exists as like guy in wheelchair who looks edgy but isn't really edgy anymore.
Okay, so he's not edgy.
Sucks. They should have never brought it. He should have just died, and that would have been the greatest possible ending to his character, and he would have been like top 10 characters, period. But
that was such a weird turn they did.
I can't hear you.
Oh, what? Hello?
Is it a me issue? I don't think it's a me issue. Can you hear me? Not if you can hear me. Okay,
hello? Can you hear me? No?
I don't hear you, brother. I got to pay the mic bill also, it seems. I think it's me. I think I did something. Give me a second. Wait a minute. It's stupid. I turned the volume down on this thing.
Oh, that's what happened. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, bro, it was absolutely my fault the whole time. I literally just turned the volume down on like the.
No, you're good. You're good. We're gonna edit that out later.
Yeah, we'll edit that out in post.
Yeah. Anyways, the last thing I wanted to get into was I was gonna say Zane, when he straight up changed with that whole like the dark dueling like underground and stuff, that was so jarring to me. I was like, yo, this feels weird. And to be fair, it did make sense where he went pro and he realized I'm not the best anymore. He went like downhill, went into that dark state of like, yo, I need to get stronger. And like he starts going like full on like emo phase of like, man, I'm edgy and I duel in the dark or whatever. I was like, that is so weird, but I guess it does make sense with the direction they wanted to go to. That duel between Zane and Jaden still like resonates. I'm like, man, they really ended in a tie. This is crazy.
Yeah, but yeah. A lot of those duels are fucking fantastic, man. I think that GX had some of the best duels in the franchise.
Yeah, man. I wish they did Zane better. You know what I mean? Like, I wish Zane wasn't treated as like that guy that had to go into a dark place to start winning again. I wish after he went through all that, like, he should have either died or he should have came back to what he was. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that should have
I get that. I liked it though. I mean, I eat that shit up. Give me a well-written emo character, and I'm fucking.
Hey man, seeing as you love Sasuke so much, I can totally see that. I
always love like the Deuter antagonist or whatever the fuck it's called, Deuteragonist.
So you were really into like Hiei, like Yu Yu Hakusho and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I loved Hiei too. To me, I think Dragon of the Darkness Flame is a better move than Spirit Gun. Me personally,
it's pretty badass, but like I don't know, Spirit Gun's just got that kind of like fucking iconic status, you know, that kind of makes it difficult to argue against sometimes.
That's true. I feel that. Anyways, guys, this is the end of the casual takes, man. I hope you had a fun time, Doofy. I hope so.
I enjoy it. I kind of just be rambling and shit. I feel bad. I think I rambled a little too much. I wasn't making sense at times, but I mean, I had fun still because that's what I do.
That's the whole point, bro. We're supposed to just ramble and go into random tangents and stuff. JJK fans randomly caught a stray for some reason, but that was hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know if they did deserve that,
but it's already there.
Enemies out of everyone.
Yeah, man. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna leave all of Doofy's links down in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm gonna catch you guys later.